Macdonald Show, the first word from the head coach after every Seahawks game.
It's a work in progress since the day you walk in the door.
Presented by Emerald Queen Casino.
Yes, sir!
Coach, good morning. What time did you guys get back today?
I'm not sure. I think it was like 4:30. 4:30.
Well, sorry to have you doing this after the late night and all of it, but definitely want to hear about the game and your take on what you saw. What was the big difference yesterday between the two teams?
Oh man. Well, big difference was we didn't play well enough on defense, and they outplayed us on the offense. I mean, I think. That's basically just what it came down to. And then, on offense, I thought we had some opportunities to capitalize on, and we got behind the sticks a couple times and couldn't convert. But the difference in the game was our defensive performance.
The eye in the sky doesn't lie in that coaching tape, whether it was last night, because you do have a short week, or it was this morning that you kind of took it in. Coach, what stood out with the actual film?
It starts with me. We have to, look, anytime you're not playing at, to the standard, quote unquote, or there's execution issues, the guys aren't trying to screw up, they're trying to do the right thing. And, I'm responsible for how they play. And so that's it. So it starts with the head coach, especially when I'm calling the defensive plays. So the plan needs to be tighter. We got to make sure we're asking guys to do things that they can do. I think I can call a better game in certain situations, kind of diagnose what's happening better in real time. And then, our challenge to the guys was to say, let's also look inward, which I know we're going to do. And we're making some uncharacteristic mistakes communication-wise and leverage-wise in terms of technique and how we leverage the football. And so the good news is those things are correctable. But we're on, like you said, we're on a short week, and we got to go to work, and we got to make it right so we can move forward.
How much of your game plan for that is affected by having 5 starters out of that game on defense?
Yeah, I think Greg asked me that last night. And maybe this isn't the right thing, but I felt like, hey, we have a lot of guys that have all these guys have repped all the. They've gotten a ton of reps. I was excited to see Miles Adams play. Travis Gibson was a guy that's been playing pretty well. Tyus getting an opportunity. So we didn't want to just go like, hey, let's just take a 90-degree turn here. We're calling our stuff, and it just wasn't good enough.
Can you help me understand that term communication, Coach? Because we've heard that over the years at times, and I think it's just from and not to throw any in particular incident under the bus, but just from what does that mean when you say communication issues defensively?
Yeah, I'm with you, Brock, because normally you say communication, it just sounds like you're a circus out there. If you guys can't communicate well. So, that's the case with us, but when things move, are we on the same page? Are we able to anticipate, when the picture changes, how we're handling it and stay ahead of plays? I didn't feel like we were ahead of the play last night. And obviously, the big pass was probably the most glaring, but, there were several others throughout the game where it's not like we're like mental errors. It just felt like we weren't ahead, which, you want to be ahead of plays to give yourself the best chance to win that down.
How good are they offensively?
They're really good. They're really good. They're really good. They had a really good plan. They got really good players. They got great coaches. They're really good. And look, that's the NFL. You got to go beat really good teams. They're not going to. They're not going to. And we didn't beat them. So. Like we want to be the team that we want to become. We got to go beat good teams.
Anything they do in their plan, Mike, that was new, that was unique, with maybe an extra day in a Monday night game?
They do it like it's par for the course on how they've operated. You know, they give you pictures that you've seen and kind of give you plays off plays, which they've always done a good job of that. They do a good job of scheming up the runs based off fronts. Their operation wise is sophisticated, and it's tailored to like what you do through the lens of how they operate. Mm-hmm. So you know they got a good thing going there. But I mean, you know, look, like a lot of everyone has so much invested in offense throughout the league. I mean, everyone has, you know, you turn on the tape and it's like, oh shoot, all these teams present problems and issues because, I mean, the variance is just, it's not as wide as one might think, in my opinion. And so, you know, you have to play your best football, you know, every Sunday or Monday to have a chance to win. And there's certain games this year where we have, and it's just not consistent enough right now. We didn't do that last night, and the results spoke for itself.
How about their physicality? Is that different or at a higher level than what you see generally week to week in this league?
Look, they're a physical football team. They do. I mean, they're just like I said all week. I mean, they're a sound, hard playing team with good players. They're well coached. But I consider us a physical football team too. It's just you look at the plays and it just wasn't. Yeah, I mean there's some battles where they're winning those battles. There's some battles where our guys are winning battles. I mean that's what's going to happen.
What did the 18 for 18 look like on tape? Were there opportunities, you said after the game, to kind of disrupt the ball and to deny the ball? Were there some chances there where, man, we could have disrupted a little more of their passing efficiency?
Well, in some of the checkdowns that we were forcing, you want to, like when you're in zone, you know, like you're happy with those. You're expecting to tackle those guys and limit the yardage. And it's a function of time too. If he's getting to his checkdown, it means you should have time to maybe get to the quarterback, which we were close a couple times, but not close enough. So those, I would say that's not a concern. You know, the second level routes, we need to be able to play better in all of our coverage structures. So that's something that really hasn't hurt us up to this point, but teams are going to do that to us. So we're going to have to get that fixed. And then we didn't do a good enough job to create those situations where you can be aggressive. You know, this is, they were kind of on schedule pretty much the entire game. When we got them off schedule, it felt like in those passing situations, you know, we had a chance to succeed and we got off the field the minimum times we did. But that's what it looked like. Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, obviously you guys had a lot of success moving it. 395 yards from your quarterback. What'd you see from Geno yesterday?
I sound like Brogan. He played a really good game. They gave him some hard things. You know, he was like, there's the way they rush and like with Aiden there, you don't have forever back there. And so he's making fast decisions. I think our guys are getting their spots well. In the way the game played out, we needed him to do that. I mean, we don't want to. I mean, I love Geno having massive amount of stats, but I don't know how many times he's dropped back. But you know, that's not a consistent winning formula. But the guys did what they needed to do to keep us, alive, and keep us in the game and give us I thought going into that, fourth downs, even going into the fourth downs in the low red there on the second to last drive, I felt like, there was a pretty good, not pretty good, but like there's still a chance for us there's a path to win the game, So you got to give our guys credit for fighting it out the whole time.
How about those guys up front? I thought Stone played, especially with whom he was facing, just did an awesome job of continuing to stand in their time. And again, how about the entirety of the offensive line group yesterday, Coach?
Yeah, I agree with you, Brock. I thought they played well. Again, it's like the kind of the theme of the night is like they battled, man. They battled. When you're in a drop back game, that's a massive stress on your guys, and they fought their butts off. I mean, I thought, and so talking about communication, that was probably our best communicated O-line game up to this point with the looks that they were giving us and some of the pressures. I felt like we're all on the same page operation-wise. Other than the fourth down, I felt like we were clean and, in that environment, it's a loud environment. And, to do the cadence stuff that we're doing, I think, I thought the guys did a good job.
As we learn about you a little bit and sort of your philosophy on football, one of the conversations we've had, and not just us, but throughout sports radio and football fans everywhere, it's just been the value of running backs and how that's changed and been talked about over the last couple of decades. Watching Ken Walker last night, it sure seems like he brings a specific value to the offense above and beyond what the average running back or replacement back might be. Before I get to Walker, what do you think about running backs in general and their value in the game today?
Well, I haven't really thought about it in those. I'm not like a running back philosopher. Look, it's kind of like you want really good players that are tough and play hard and can kind of get you the extra stuff. I mean, you got to be to me, it's like, can you become alive in the pass game? Can you block your tail off and all the pressure stuff, protect the quarterback? And can you get more than what the O-line blocks it for? If you can do all those things, which I think both of our backs can do. Now that I'm philosophizing, so I think that's, I think it's pretty valuable, I mean, it seems like a bonus for you. The other thing is if you have tells on the backs of certain guys can only do certain things, defenses will take advantage of that.
So with that as the background, what did you see last night from Ken Walker?
Well, shoot, I mean, you don't need me to tell you. I mean, you guys saw it. I mean, the guy, the one play made in the flat to get the first down, I was like, have you ever seen a play like that in your life? Unbelievable. I think his skill set is so great, but I think what's underrated about Ken is just his will and competitiveness. I mean, this guy is just fighting and clawing for every extra inch, and it's a bummer we lost the game because he had a heck of a performance.
So inquiring minds want to know out there, Mike, this has been a very common refrain on our text toy. Was the cross and toss in the game plan in the spring and in training camp, or was that stolen from the Detroit Lions a couple weeks ago when they ran the same little concept of the hook and ladder on 3rd and 15?
No, we've actually, the Lions play was a little bit different than ours, but we've had that in for a minute. The Chargers actually ran that against the Ravens last year on a 3rd and 15. They converted. But that's all from Grubb. And I never told him to run that play or anything. We've had that in for a while.
Can you take us back? I forget, was it DJ we were talking to last week? No, it was Joel Klatt we were chatting with last week, and just kind of talking about his experience and background that he had with you at Michigan, coach, and then just you look at now what you have around. What's that?
You said Joel Klatt?
Yeah, Joel Klatt was on with us last week.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, well, we try. We try. We try to bring different voices on, and he was.
Joel does an awesome job. I think he's great.
And he was, just talking about a lot about your background there at Michigan, and then kind of fast forwarding. And it just struck me, and I know I talked about in the off season with the hiring and all the different staff, but now that we've had a month and 4 games to watch your operation, I mean, just to go back to that hiring of Ryan Grubb, someone that you had really not had any background with, and how unique that is, especially in the NFL and the hiring process, and seeing what he is doing now. Is what you envisioned when you hired him, and you made that happen? Is that coming to life with the aggressiveness and the plan and everything else?
I'd say it's coming to life. I think it's on par with where our football team is. It's just it's kind of like envisioning a horse race where you kind of one horse kind of takes the lead, one kind of slows down, then then the other one kind of accelerates and makes a big jump in progress. And in all aspects of our football team, including our offense and Ryan and getting used to like his new staff and the NFL defenses. I mean, this is the first time that he's going against these coordinators. So how he's able to, utilize the staff, kind of gain all this information. That's where we're at right now. I think he's a part of that. But I'm excited about him. I love working with him. Like I said, one of the biggest drivers behind why we felt like it was a great move was just how he thinks about the game, having answers, trying to develop this, like how we coach the quarterback, but like this mentality of, hey, like I just want to do the best thing, I want to do what's best for us all the time, all these situation stuff. I mean, we've had some really great conversations throughout the offseason every week. We're talking through all the different things, and he's right there with you, rather than just, some guys just kind of say, okay, yeah, whatever, I'm just going to do what I want. But that's not Ryan.
You guys had five injured players that weren't able to go last night. Were any of them close, meaning they should be likely to be able to go on Sunday?
I'd say the closest was Bake, and hamstrings are tricky. It's just like they're just tricky. It's just at what point, the guy's running pretty fast. He's getting some certain accelerations. I'd say he's probably the closest right now, and I'm optimistic though. I mean, like I said last night, everybody's kind of on their own timeline, and but it's nothing that we're just going to be like, they're out for forever. It's just when they're ready to come back. So that's kind of where we're at with those guys.
There were a couple questionable calls, I guess you would call them, last night. Couple of the offensive pass interference call on Lockett, the non-call on DK in the end zone. How impactful did you think those were to the outcome of the game?
Man. I mean, I'll just say this, 2-point conversions, those are high leverage plays. So when the calls don't go your way, I mean, you're going to be, you wish they went your way. So in the moment, I mean, yeah, there's nothing you can do. They're not going to pick up a flag off the ground because you're upset. Best we can do is get a proper explanation on why, so we can prevent that moving forward. And then I am we've been talking about this morning with 2-point review. It was under my it was explained to me that they were looking at it from the booth. So that's why.
So that was on the that one they can't pick obviously the penalty flags up on the other judgment calls, but mechanically, Mike, there when DK's knee does hit down, and I'm sure the guys from upstairs were telling you, hey Mike, his one knee is 2 feet. DK actually caught that in bounds. Can you throw the red flag there? Can you call a timeout? Can you stop the game to make sure, hey, hold on a second, guys, take a second, third, and fourth look at this because our guys feel very clearly his knee is down. Is there that opportunity to do that? Did you do that?
Well, we didn't have a great TV view in real time, but what was going through my mind was we had an extra. Now we have one from the one. We didn't have a clear look at it from up top, and they were reviewing it in the booth. So if you did challenge it, in hindsight, you force the issue a little bit more, I guess, is probably the best way at it. And, but, timeouts are going to be valuable in a game like that. And, but if, when it's coming down to points, you definitely want to utilize that tool. But just in real time, we didn't have a great look, and they said they were looking at it. So I just felt like it was best to, trust what they were seeing upstairs and then, go from there.
Based on, you said, getting explanations from the officials, is there anything you would tell Tyler to do differently on that play where he was called for OPI?
I'll just keep the coach. I mean, I don't really want to go into the coaching points with it, but right now, but yeah, we want to make sure that we're coaching the right stuff. But you look, I don't know. I just we'll get an explanation and we'll keep coaching it, and next time hopefully it goes our way.
Last things here for me, and I know you explained the 2-point conversion thought when you went for it early. Can you kind of walk through the different data points, and was that something A, going into the game, and then B, as the game was unfolding, it became really clear and kind of a green light decision?
Well, yeah, I mean, it does favor going, without going through all the numbers. It does favor going for 2. Just play it out. You get, at some point, you get 2 opportunities to get a 2-point conversion, which about evens out if you get both. Or I'm sorry, if you get the first one, now you just need the touchdown, and that's a path to winning the game in real time. If you, you get 2 opportunities for a 2-point conversion. If you only get 1, now you're looking at going to overtime, and now you're still at a 50-50 proposition about winning the game. So that's kind of the numbers behind it. Our philosophy is really game to game. So going into the game, we're not like hard set either way. But just the way the game was going and how our defense was playing, I just felt like, and our offense was moving all pretty good. I just felt like, hey, if we had a chance to win this thing in regulation, let's do it.
The way everyone's playing has to factor in. Brock and I were talking earlier about the very first punt of the game and saying that we both agreed with it in the moment, but if you had known the way the rest of that game was going to play out, would that have changed the way you viewed a situation like that?
Well, how would I?
You wouldn't be able to know. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. If that had been in the third quarter, right? If it was a 4th and 1
right
at the wherever it was, the 44-yard line in the third or fourth quarter, does the data point then change?
It became more aggressive, obviously, as the game goes on, but it also doesn't account for how well you feel about both your units. So we actually played it more aggressive later in the game than the model wanted us to.
Coach, we appreciate it. Sorry about you having to do this after the late night and the travel and all of that. Be a normal week and next week as you guys play on a Sunday, and then we'll talk to you on Monday morning. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you then.
All good, guys. Thanks a lot.
There you go. There's Mike Macdonald, who joins us now weekly following games.